Hello, I'm ElHage, and I created the Zookeeper. The story of Zookeeper, how it began, I was back home in Curacao, the Dutch Antilles, and a friend of mine, we were having coffee, and he just said, you need to design something to protect scuba divers from the spines of a lionfish. So naturally I asked him, what's a lionfish? And he explained to me how invasive they were, where they were from, and they don't belong in our waters. And I took a trip to the building depot on the island, walked the aisles, looked for stuff, bought stuff, came back to the office and started the design process. And after the third or fourth version, Zookeeper was born. The alarm in regards to lionfish was sounded off somewhere in the early 2000s, and how devastating these fish can be. And it was done by marine biologists from a university, I believe, out west. And then more marine biologists got into it and doing more studies. And with that alarm, the idea of removing them from our reefs came up. So by decimating our reef fish, some of those reef fish are there to clean corals from algae. And what would happen is, without those fish, algae would grow on the corals, and the corals will die. So not only are they decimating our reef fish, and also fish that are commercially viable, but by decimating certain types of fish, it would lead to the death of our coral reefs. In the early stages, the talk was all about eradicating the lionfish, but by 2012, they were an established species in our waters. So Reef Environmental Education Foundation started doing these lionfish derbies, where teams would come together, and you'd have 10, 15 teams of 4 divers going out, and they would compete for the largest lionfish, the smallest lionfish, and the team that got the most. And in exchange, actually, all the derbies provided data to the marine biologists at Reef and other marine biologists that were studying the fish. So derbies came about, and that in turn started the whole education and outreach and awareness of the problem. Lionfish are tasty fish. They're delicious. So we're not just going out there removing them and then throwing them away. We're actually removing them and then